We are on. Good evening. Hi, this is Rob Bell, and we are getting the record straight. This is the Truth to Power segment, which we do. And please take time to subscribe, like it, whether you do or not. And please continue to stay safe. Keep your mask on and still keep a distance. I just was on a plane this weekend to Chicago, and wasn't too bad. Wasn't too many people on there, but still watch yourself. As I said, this is getting the record straight. The Truth to Power segment. Please take time when you get a chance to go to www.blackrocksoul.com and check out my YouTube music playlist, which I change up every few days. There's some great music happening on there. And please, blackrocksoul.com. And you can press the button for a playlist, or you can press the button for Get Record Straight, which will bring you right here. I have a guest who I'm going to bring on who will be on the phone with us. The great attorney here in Philadelphia, Michael Coard. We've got a lot to talk about. And before I do, I want to send out condolences to the family of our now recent ancestor, Brother Conrad Warrill. Conrad passed on the 3rd, I believe, this last week. Conrad was a great brother, writer, educator, activist, and I understand a talk show host, but he was also a very active member with the National Coalition of Blacks for Reparations in America, in COBRA. And I had the was fortunate to meet with him, sit and talk many, many times during my active time within COBRA. And just a great brother. I'm sorry to hear that he passed. As I said, I have a guest who I will bring on in a second. I want to give him a brief introduction. Michael Coard is the visionary and organizer of the Avenging the Ancestors Coalition. And I want to talk real briefly about that project. It was a project to build a memorial to the enslaved Africans owned by the first president, George Washington. And this project was significant not only for its symbolic and historical importance, but also because the project, in my mind anyway, stands as an exemplary model of grassroots organizing, planning, and execution. And I am not overstating this. I truly believe this, that it is one of the most important achievements in modern Philadelphia history. And it was brought about because of this gentleman who I'm about to introduce, Michael Coard. Mike, I salute you. Brother, welcome to Getting the Record Straight.
Let me say this, Rob. Thank you very much for inviting me, and I'm honored and humbled that you would say such wonderful things about me, especially in connection with the Slavery Memorial / President's House project. But as I always say, to whom much is given, much is required. The ancestors sent me to college and sent me to law school to be able to be the mouthpiece for them. So I'm just doing what they sent me here to do, and I really mean it.
And I really mean what I said, because I've often reflected on that whole project, man, and it was a magnificent undertaking, and it really would never have happened were it not for your vision and leadership and courage. And like I said, I really think it's a model for how we can get things done in this city and in others, and I wanted you to know that, and I really want our audience to know that this is really part of Philadelphia history. And one of the things about Philly that kind of ticks me off is I don't think we hold our own up in the light and shine the light on them, particularly while they're alive, And so I really wanted to give you the accolades now, and for people to remember how important you are and how important that project has been. So that said, take us back a little bit about how that all came about. I know I went to a lot of meetings and some of the marches. At that time, I was really involved, personally within Cobra, and I know we were an organizational supporter at that time. But tell us about how, the origins and genesis of that whole project.
Well, first of all, I'm so glad you described it the way you did. It's a blueprint for effective grassroots organizing.
Mm-hmm.
And if there were a 10 commandments of grassroots organizing, commandment number one would be leave your ego at the door. That's got to be the first commandment, because I got to tell you, Rob, and you know this from working with grassroots groups and other groups yourself.
Mm.
I love my people, but sometimes it's difficult to deal with my people. And it's not so much a black people thing. I'm sure Jews would say that about Jews, and Latinos would say it about Latinos, just like you say it about the Robert Bell family, and I say it about the Michael Coard family.
Uh-huh.
It's like those who you are around, you tend to butt heads with. It's nothing personal, it's just that you're around them. Mm-hmm. And the reason that you butt heads with them is because you're around them. You don't butt heads with strangers. The thing I always say that with all family disputes, you got to keep that stuff in the house.
Yeah.
And once you go outside, it's got to be a united front. And that's what we did, without naming any names, because there's still people around who I love and respect. But when Attack was founded in 2002, we were a big, happy family. Pretty much every woke black person in Philadelphia was somehow tied to our group early on, because it's like a mass movement. And then as the work had to be done, and some people did more than others, but more important, when the media got involved and started highlighting certain people, and other people felt that their name wasn't in the newspaper enough for their photos, it really got ugly. Even at the black-owned and operated radio station here in Philadelphia, WRD, it's like all the active black people somehow are connected with that by being members, listeners, hosts, whatever. And it got so ugly that the stuff, the infighting that was inside the house went public, where some people were on the radio saying really horrible things. And even though at that time we had heard nothing about Michelle Obama, later on I found out that her motto was my motto before I even heard of her, which is, when they go low, you go high. Mm-hmm. So every time I would hear them on the radio saying such horrible things about me, I'd come on and do my show and just praise them as these wonderful people who've done such wonderful things, and they didn't know where to go with that. They're like, it's almost like somebody wants to fight you, and you just refuse to fight. What are you going to do, fight? They're going to fight themselves?
Well,
so I made my business to avoid going into the public boxing ring and air our dirty laundry. Because in every movement, you look, and it's so funny, because when I was immersed, and still am, in the Attack organization, but when I was immersed in that infighting, I thought it was just this local black Philly thing. Then I did the research and found out about the NAACP, how Abernathy hated King, and the Black Panther Party, where some of the founders despised each other. So that kind of thing goes on. That's why I say commandment number one in the 10 commandments, or I should say the 42 principles of my eye, whatever you want to call it. Number one has to be leave your ego at the door, be humble with people, and that's why Attack is called Attack, ATAC. The C is coalition. Mm-hmm. So we bring in people who might not think like we do, but it's almost like, and this is the best analogy I'll use before I hear your follow-up question, it's almost like when sports leagues have all-star games. For example, if there's an all-star game in football, well, the Eagles hate Dallas, but when they play the all-star game, they're on the same team, so it's all about unity without uniformity. The Dallas Cowboys don't have to wear the Eagles uniform. The Eagles don't have to wear the Cowboys uniform. But when they come together in the All-Star game, they got one united goal, and that is to score that touchdown. One team might want to pass. One team might want to run. One team might want to try a trick play. Whatever they want to do, whatever approach, all we know is that we got to travel downfield and score. And I got to tell you, that's the thing that I give the ancestors the most credit for, because I am, like most people are, I tend to be stubborn. I tend to want my way. But I was so accommodating and flexible I would curse people out under my breath when I got home. But in terms of building coalitions and working with people, I did everything my quote-unquote opponent wanted so that we could show this mass movement. And as long as the powers that be, the people who were down at the National Park Service, as long as they thought that attack was this massive movement speaking for all black people, that's all we wanted to know. That's all we wanted them to know. So again, the first rule of warfare is to present a united front to your enemy by, as I said, leaving your ego to the side. But very quickly, Rob, let me just say this so people know what you and I are talking about. The group is called ATTAC, ATAC, Avenging the Ancestors Coalition. Long story short, in 30 seconds, we found out around 2002 that not only was the Liberty Bell Center back then at 5th and Market, we found out that was going to move a block west to 6th and Market. Mm-hmm. And the black community Philly said, okay, interesting, but no big deal. But the second thing we found out in 2002 is that that new site for the Liberty Bell Center is where America's first White House stood. It was called the President's House, the Executive Mansion, whatever. And we again said, okay, interesting, no big deal. But the third thing we find out in 2002 is that George Washington enslaved 9 of the 316 black men, women, and children that he held in bondage at Mount Vernon, Virginia, and held 9 of them here in Philly. We said, what? The first White House in Philly? Enslaved black folks in Philly? We got to do something. 8-year battle, 2010, December 15, 2010, grand opening of the first, I repeat, the first slave memorial of its kind on federal property in the history of the United States of America. No disrespect to the NAACP, the Urban League, some great organizations. These were just angry, hood, black, grassroots people who came together, fought the United States government, fought George Washington, and won.
Ashe. No, it was like I said, this is the stuff that goes in history books, and I hope one day when that history is written about modern contemporary Philadelphia, that you're included, brother, and the ATTAC organization and what you were able to achieve, because it was monumental. Please excuse that pun, but indeed it was. You know what? I think I'm gonna take a few second break, and then there's a whole bunch of other stuff we can talk about. So give me like 5 seconds.
Yes, sir.